Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to this Wednesday evening, as we are finally moving on to the final section of the Cwictionary, otherwise known as the comic section of the Cwictionary. My sister, about 20 minutes ago, started asking me questions about who was Chris, and I told her she didn't want to know, so I only showed her, I only told her about the story about Chris, trying to cut his own taint open, and the video where he blacks up as Mr. Popo. Anyway, where were we? The Anchuent Propehcy. And before you ask, I think he was meant to say ancient, but I kind of got what he was trying to do. At least I think it was intentional. The idea guys were here. Chris was brainwashed into believing that Finney, the antagonist from the anime series Symphogear, created this prophecy, and those who disobeyed it are cursed with AIDS. I did not know that, which is going to make things very, very interesting when I finally come to reviewing the comics. The Anchuent Prophecy, pronounced Anchuent, the Anchuent Prophecy of the Cherokee clan is one of the central plot points of the entire Sonichu series, unfortunately, often being cited to explain many fantastical developments in the story. And didn't this appear in issue 2 or something like that? I think J.J. Abrams gets to the points faster in stories before Chris does. Primarily, the prophecy explains why Chris and several other human beings in the comic can transform into furries. While the prophecy originally concerned Chris, Sarah, and Wes's relationship, as the series progressed, all non-Chris details were essentially ignored or forgotten. By Chris himself, probably. The prophecy is also important because it renders Sonichu, the supposed main character of the comic, even more pointless, firmly establishing him as simply the electric creature, whose only purpose is to help Chris unlock superpowers for himself. Well, more superpowers, as he already capable of using static voodoo powers. Satanic voodoo powers, I should say. Sonichu, Chris, and the cave keeper are shocked by the prophecy's idiocy. Okay, yeah, let's just check it out anyway. Anch. I like the fact it's called Anch. It's apparently... What even is this? Let's do this properly. A hedgehog. At least I think that's a hedgehog, or is that meant to be grass? There's Pikachu, and then there's whatever is Donald Duck with thumbs. Somehow this equals this. And what even is this supposed to be? Sonichu. I don't get what is this No wonder Chris looks confused. His head, well, aside from the fact that his head has become a lollipop, I do not know what the hell this is supposed to be. Why is the frigging cavekeeper got one eye? Why is Sonichu's legs literally just a V? Like an upside down V? Why does it look like he's only got one arm that fits to him? What the fuck is going on? And why is Chris's hand on back to front? I know you're gonna hear me complain a lot about the art when we actually get to Sonichu, because it gets worse and worse and worse with every single page. But this really tops it. Long thought to be a typo, its consistency has eventually led to the realization that it's probably supposed to be a Pikachu pun. Why or how the Cherokee would make a pun on the English word ancient and the Japanese word chew, onomatopoeia for squeak, is unclear. As a TSSF card featuring lore written by the idea guys. Okay, let's just check this out. I don't even know why... Did he spill coffee in or something? And only, well, I'll say this, well, why exactly they would write typos on what's supposed to be a prophecy? What is this bullshit? The Anchuent prophecy is a prophecy that was told and foretold by many an elder of the various tribes all around the world within the years BC and AD. That's nowhere near specific, but okay. On Earth, these particular prophecy wars are related to the lineage between Solitudes, Rose-Chews, the people, and world around them, and of course Christine Weston Chandler, Sonichu of Earth 1218, and her various self-counterparts. There are actually a few ancient prophecy wars all around the world. They all essentially foretold the same events, so what's the point in saying they are any different? The difference being what happened locally in those various countries. There is a war in Japan, Africa, England, Russia, Canada, Antarctica, and most famously noted that one in Quickville, Virginia, USA. Great. Well, not great, but you know. The Prophecy. Original Prophecy, Christian, Wes, and Sarah, the Destined Trio. The prophecy was brought to light when Sonichu happened upon the Destiny Cave, prompting the old man dwelling there to remark that Sonichu was the creature of the prophecy. Learning that it was his destiny to enter the cave and learn of the prophecy, Chris accompanied Sonichu back to the cave, where he learned that Sonichu had inadvertently set off events releasing Count Graduan, an evil spirit locked away for centuries by the Cherokee and Wasabi clans. Wasabi clans, like, do you reckon Chris knows what that is and just couldn't think of anything better to say? The prophecy, according to the keeper of the Destiny Cave, is as follows. It was prophesied by the ancient masters, who these are we will literally never know, that the reincarnation of our leader will take pen in hand to combine a mouse and a hedgehog, and give birth to a new electric creature. Then the leader will place his handmade medallion on the pedestal and release the powers that were his. This seems like the most plot convenient shit I've ever heard in my life. As well as his ladies' and rivals' powers. Wait a minute, hang on. If this is supposed to be for... No, okay, right. It doesn't actually specify, you know, good or evil. It's just saying that anyone who has the powers to do this. The powers will transform you all into electric creatures, with variable powers of good, bad, and peace. As opposed bad peace, can you explain to me what bad peace is supposed to be? Also, why exactly would it bestow people the ability to be good or bad? People can do that on their own anyway, so what's the... Also, an evil will strike the day the original creature, electrical creature, finds the cave. Only the released powers can defeat the evil. What was the point in creating evil in the first place then, if all you're going to do is take the... I don't get this idea. Seems... Yes, that's right. The act of Chris and Sonichu showing up at the cave to hear about the prophecy in the first place is what allows the evil to escape. Kind of like it's kind of like the beginning of Power Rangers Jungle Fury in many ways. Like, it was because of Gerard that caused, you know, Daishi to escape, even though it was Gerard who released Daishi, admittedly by accident. But it happened, except Jungle Fury is far superior than the laws of Chris Chan. And also, when you think about it, it was because of Chris and Sonichu is what caused this to happen anyway, so... If they had just sealed up the damn cave, there wouldn't have been any problem. But that would also mean Chris wouldn't gain the ability to turn into a furry. Recognizing that the ancient evil could only be defeated by powers at his command, Chris fulfilled his part of the prophecy by placing his Sonichu medallion on the pedestal, allowing the old man to say the incantation that would activate the medallion as well as the fire shock pendant and lightning bracelets. These were totems that would now give their rightful bearers the power to become electric hedgehogs like Sonichu, reincarnation of the Cherokean king, Christian could now become Chris-chan Sonichu, the reincarnation of his queen, Sarah Hammer. It's going to be very difficult to explain to her in real life. Received the lightning bracelets and became Sarama Rosechew, the leader of the Wasabi clan, who had been Cherokee leader's romantic rival, was now Chris's rival, Wes Isley, and so he accepted the Fireshock pendant and became Wesley Sonichu. Initially, the three prophesized electric creatures were unaware of one another's human identities, until Wesley attacked Chris-chan out of spite for issues both in real life, their mutual interest in Sarah Hammer's affections, and their fictitious ancient past, the ownership of the Cherokee crown. The prophecy would go on to accurately describe how Sarama would have to bring peace to Wesley and Chris-chan so that they could present a united front against Count Graduon. It should be noted that they never actually did stop Graduon at all. The three of them teamed up temporarily to defeat a stone golem under Graduon's command, whilst Graduon himself left with Mary Lee Walsh to start running the private villa of corrupted citizens. Sarah ran off with William Spicer and got married, while Wes actually ended up joining Graduon's evil organization. Though there is no explanation of his reasons for defection to the enemy at all. Both these things came to pass because Sarah got married in real life and Chris developed an interest in a new unfortunate girl. That would be probably Megan Schroeder. And since Sarah being out of the picture left Wes obsolete, he was simply made into a generic villain. Thus, in spite of the prophecy, Chris is left alone to fight Graduon and an army of his fellow followers, essentially making the other two completely useless and the prophecy a failure. Extended Prophecy, Crystal, the Dream Sibling. When Chris was ambushed by the WM manager at MacDville in the region of Malwart, he received another vision of his Cherokee ancestor, advising him to combine the powers of Chris-chan Sonichu with the heart torch he constructed from pixel blocks. In this way, Chris would be able to summon his dream sibling, who could assist him in the battle. Following his sister's instructions, Chris used Heart Torch Glow to manifest his identical twin sister, Crystal, and the Rosechew medallion she would use to become Crystalina Rosechew, joining forces at Chris-chan Pure. They defeated the WM manager and made the city safe again. Yeah, I suppose that was the one part they forgot to tell Chris. Apparently. Fine print of the prophecy and this, Renalk, the ultimate dark being, who wears green for some reason. When the original medallion is submerged in darkness, the dark metal will appear, and he whose name is reverse will transform into the ultimate dark being. Again, you must have been very, very specific for these circumstances to take place. This additional detail in the prophecy, which was retconned in later, went unnoticed by Christian, much to his dismay. Well, it shouldn't be. He should learn to, type check things. When he learned that his mishap in Graduon's dark hole, mirror hole, allowed Natesark Giovanni to transform into Retnauk Natsu Natesark, one of his deadliest enemies. Once again, this is an example of the prophecy fucking over more people than it helped. Since if Retnauk really was the ultimate dark being, then that logically makes him an even bigger threat than Count Graduon, who the prophecy was made to defeat in the first place, but didn't. Also note that the prophecy does not actually guarantee that Rennog would be defeated at all, even though he eventually was in Sonichu issue 10. It's only thanks to narrative magic that Chris ever actually managed to defeat all the numerous enemies that the prophecy actually created. That wouldn't have terrorized the world in the first place, if he had just left well enough alone. But he doesn't. Also, the original prophecy was spoken aloud to Chris by the Keeper of the Destiny Cave. How there could be fine print at all when it was spoken and not written on paper is never explained, because he didn't think about that. The only sensible conclusion is that the keeper either mumbled that part under his breath or just decided to not tell Chris that part at all. How Retnarg actually knows about that detail either, or the prophecy either, is also a complete mystery. Starting to suspect that the story of Sonichu has more plot holes than I initially anticipated. Completely unexplained part of the prophecy, some brown guy. Either enter I.B.A. Chandler. He's a Sonichu character based on Liquid Chris, who appeared in Sonichu issue 9. He works for the PVCC, and fought in the Battle of Quickville. He showed up in Electric Hedgehog form for about 2 pages and was curb-stomped by Sonichu in a matter of minutes. When he was defeated, he then suddenly transformed into a human, much like Chris or the other transforming Sonichus do upon being defeated. Then, just as Sonichu calls in an ambulance to have him taken to hospital, he is grabbed by the tentacles of a gang of devil trolls and carried off to safety. Apparently, devil trolls are tiny goblin-like demonic entities, some of which can also fly. The paramedics speculate that he was in alliance with them. So, who is this guy? Why does he have such powers? Why is he working for PVCC? Why is he allied with the devil trolls? What's his story? What's his motive? How does he factor into the prophecy? Is he human? Is he the devil? Why does he care about stealing Chris's identity? Why did he try to fight Sonichu? None of these questions are answered. Why on earth are you still surprised? The prophecy becomes even more irrelevant. In Sonichu issue 10, Chris's medallion is taken from him by Beale, mirroring the real-life interception of the medallion by trolls. He then learns that the source of his power comes not from the medallion, but from his amethyst ring. The ring is, of course, never mentioned in the prophecy, and indeed it is specified that he requires the medallion. The reader is expected to digest all this information without any cognitive dissonance. Oh my god. I think that's... I'm sorry, guys. I think that's just funny. Oh, dear. Can I actually read all of these now? I mean, here's issue 0. No, I don't particularly think. I'll probably have to, like, go to some website and that and just get the issues myself just to get started, because no way am I paying for that shit. That's just not worth it in every sense of the word. Not from a commercial point of view, not from a financial point of view, not from any point of view whatsoever apart from sitting back and laughing at it. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Anchuent prophecy. A typo, possibly. Why? I do not know. Was it for any purpose whatsoever? No, not really. All it did was make people's lives worse. And I suppose the idea is that it's supposed to give the story of Sonichu some kind of plot. Unfortunately, if Chris cannot write plots for Toffee. He cannot write action scenes for Toffee. He cannot write period for Toffee. And we're expected to believe everything he says is gospel without any sense of cognitive dissonance, logic, or reasoning. Could you imagine an issue, actually, basically... And yet, despite all this, I think Sonichu is somehow a little bit easier to understand than Marvel. That is saying something. And with all that being said and done, I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading of the Anchuent prophecy. And I will hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now. You take my life, but I'll take yours too. Dun, 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 dun.